Now for our feature story of the day, PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model, shares his forecast of a journey to a $5 million Bitcoin price. Let's break it down, and let's start with the infamous tweet which sparked the article. Quoting PlanB from this tweet, March 18th, so that was a couple of weeks ago. It got over 500,000 views, and here's what he wrote. Stock to flow 2020-2024 halving cycle, $50,000. Stock to flow 2024-2028 halving cycle, the cycle we're in, $500,000. Send it. Then he says stock to flow 2028-2032, which is the following halving cycle, $5 million per coin. Let's go. And he also says, yes, stock to flow equals exponential growth, and it will continue, in my opinion. Now, if you're not familiar with the stock to flow, here's the stock to flow chart. Let's analyze it, shall we? It's ultimately showing us Bitcoin being somewhere between 100,000 a coin and 5 million per coin between this halving coming up and within the next couple of halvings by the year 2032. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the stock to flow. Why I personally am a fan of the stock to flow, it has been very accurate up until the previous cycle, but I think it was due to some of the black swans like FTX and Luna and a lot of the unexpected crap occurring, which took us off of our trajectory. Now, PaxB responded, I'd be happy if this happens, but 3-4 data points can only predict the general direction, not the price, like 500,000 average 2024-2028. Caution is advised to all. PlanB responded. Very true. Only 3 halvings, which were 2012, 2016, and 2020, plus the crucial pre-halving period where Bitcoin stock to flow grew from below 1 to a 4. And stock to flow is only for a general direction, of course, and with wide error margin. For example, the prediction from 2020 to 2024 was 55,000, but the reality was $33,000. So PlanB makes a good point there. So let's dive a little deeper. According to the model, the forthcoming halving cycle spanning 2020 to 2024 is expected to solidify the Bitcoin price at 50,000. But the real spectacle unfolds in the ensuing cycles, with projections setting the stage for Bitcoin to ascend to 500,000 per coin this cycle between 2024 and 2028. Let's go. And eventually reaching the monumental 5 million per coin by 2028 to 2032 cycle. Now, just the other day, it may have even been on yesterday's podcast. Check it out if you missed it. We discussed Kathy Wood of ARK Invest projecting 3.8 million per coin, which is right in alignment with the stock to flow. Now, the predictions made by PlanB have sparked interest and debate amongst the community. Many are curious to see if Bitcoin will experience the forecasted substantial growth. Let me know your thoughts, fam, in the chat, and expressing hopefulness, yet advising caution due to the limited number of data points, as I pointed out, that stock to flow is ultimately supply and demand. And when you have unprecedented demand with a very limited supply, for example, right now there's only roughly 2 million Bitcoin available in the exchanges. And as I've covered on the show, crypto quant analysts project within the next 12 to 18 months, there will be a supply shock, meaning there will be no more Bitcoin available on the exchanges, driving the prices up. And that's all you got to know. That's kind of the bigger picture that I believe trumps all the astrology for men, aka technical analysis. We just got to look at the supply and demand. So personally, that's why I'm a big fan of the stock to flow, but I digress. PlanB acknowledged this caution, pointing out that his predictions are based on 3 past halving events and the significant pre-halving period, suggesting that while the stock to flow model can guide the general trend, its accuracy comes with a considerable margin of error. So for instance, while the 2020-2024 period was projected to see the average price of 55 Gs, the actual average figure was $33,000. And additionally, another user in the conversation, known as Phoenix, remarked that while PlanB's projection might seem overly optimistic, the true outcome remains to be seen, emphasizing the need for patience. That's right. You got to have sage-like patience. And if you can have that one thing, you're going to do well in Bitcoin, family. My personal recommendation is for everyone to hodl for a minimum of 1 to 2 cycles, meaning 4 to 8 years, because history has shown us every 4-year hodler is in the green, in the black, in the profit. So if you want to be in the profit, that's all I got to do, family, is hodl thy biddies and continue stacking them sats. Just saying. But anyways, the user highlighted the uncertainty surrounding the Bitcoin future, especially considering the potential impacts of the ETFs and widespread adoption, signaling an open-minded but watchful approach to market developments. That's right. So some other things to consider as well. So besides the supply shock, which is going to occur later on in the year, we also have a presidential election, just like we had in 2020. So there's a lot of uncertainty out there. Interesting. Do you think Satoshi specifically designed it to where we have a halving? I know it's dependent upon the block and it's hard to predict the time, but nonetheless, we've been having the halvings every 4 years. So for example, the first one was 2012, the second one was 2016, the third one was 2020, and now the fourth one is going to be here in 2024, and then the next projected halving is likely to be in 2028. Do you think that was all by strategic design and alignment with the 4-year presidential cycle in America? I'm curious your thoughts. Do let me know. Now, other factors of why I'm so bullish personally and why I can see these crazy price predictions actually turning into fruition is the fact we have unprecedented demand coming from the institutions. This did not exist previous cycle when we hit the all-time high back on November 10th of 2021. That was driven purely by retail. So this time, not only will we have the retail back in the flesh, the higher the price goes, the more people will FOMO in. That's just the nature of humans, right? But we also have unprecedented institutional FOMO. So for example, BlackRock now holds 250,000 Bitcoin. It took them less than 3 months. It took MicroStrategy over 4 years to acquire over 200,000 Bitcoin. And now MicroStrategy controls 1% of the circulating supply, but their goal is to control 5% of the circulating supply, which means they're looking to increase their holdings from 200,000+ to 1 million Bitcoin. That's one publicly traded company. What about the other publicly traded companies that haven't even adopted Bitcoin yet? What about the other companies like Tesla? I know they sold 75% of their stash, but they still hold on to some Bitcoin, SpaceX, etc. What if some other MicroStrategies come out of the woodwork and they're all competing to get a 1% or 5% circulating supply, right? Right now it's neck and neck. We got BlackRock and MicroStrategy. What about Fidelity, a $4.5 trillion institution? What about Vanguard? Yeah, they may be bashing Bitcoin on the surface, saying it's against our ethos. We don't believe in it. Now their CEO is stepping down, lo and behold. But guess what? They're the largest shareholder of MicroStrategy. So even the haters of Bitcoin that are proclaiming to be anti-Bitcoin have indirect exposure to Bitcoin. What about all the nation states that are having direct or indirect exposure to Bitcoin? What if Mr. 100 is a nation who has been secretly purchasing Bitcoin, as whistleblower Edward Snowden had revealed a couple of weeks back, which we covered here in the pod? What about the sovereign wealth fund adoption? What about the Middle East? What about Qatar, supposed to allegedly be sitting on a $500 billion sovereign wealth fund looking to convert it all into Bitcoin? What about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? What about the largest oil company in the world recently announcing partnering with the largest Bank of Japan? Talking about Aramco and SBI Holdings. Once you start to calculate all this and start to realize how limited the Bitcoin supply is, supply shock becomes very realistic, right? And also, we have billionaires that love accumulating sats. It's the only unconfiscatable wealth, and it is the apex predator. Billionaires that come to mind: Kathy Wood of ARK Invest, Ricardo Salinas, third richest man in Mexico. You know what I mean? Tim Draper, the billionaire venture capitalist himself. And there's so many others. What about Jeff Bezos? Could that be Mr. 100? Who knows? What about Zuck, right? People who have no Bitcoin will be the biggest losers. And billionaires are smart people. And as I shared in the other show, we did a little analysis. There's 2,500 approximately billionaires on the planet. We did, I believe I remember 1,000 or so are 70 years or older. So a lot of them are the baby boomers, etc. But there's a lot of money. The total addressable market could be north of $900 trillion. And if 1/3 of the total addressable market were to go into Bitcoin, we're talking about like crazy numbers. I'm just going to throw out a number that's crazy. $100 million Bitcoin price. This can become a reality, but the reality is we don't know. But that's what makes this all so exciting. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know if we're going to crack down to 60,000 this time tomorrow or go right back to 74 in enterprise discovery mode. And within the next couple of weeks before the halving, hit $100,000. That's what makes this thing so exciting, right? Nobody can predict the future. All we can say is, hey, I think this is going to happen based on this or based on the previous cycles. Another major catalyst different from all the other cycles that come before us is this is the first time in Bitcoin history where we eclipse the previous all-time high pre-halving. So does that mean all the old models are broken and out the window? Could we be on a 10-year bull run just getting started, as Michael Saylor predicted? Let me know your thoughts, family, and when do you feel we're likely to hit that $5 million price projection from PlanB? Do you think it'll be within 2028 to 2028 to 2032? Holla at your boy.